Hey everyone, Matt Covert here from Racers HQ, and I'm playing around with my new iRacing setup, and I want to show you how to run a 58.5 around Lime Rock Park. That's a respectable time, 58.5, and I'm just going to take you through a lap and show you how to do it. And of course, it all starts with the final corner before the straight on Lime Rock Park, this really long, fast sweeper coming down the hill, and we can start talking about the fast lap right here. And I made a little mistake. I just didn't get quite close enough to the curb on this lap. You can see that I run a little wide and then have to make an extra steering correction like that to kind of get the car to go in. So I'm not on the throttle all the way. You can see here, you can watch the throttle and the steering inputs. Right? And so I let it run a little wide before I unwind it. And there's a little bit of oversteer here too. So that could definitely be better as a run-up lap. So we know there's something to gain already. So here we are going into the first corner and just start to turn in. Let me see if I can, where are we at here? Where is the, let's see where I started. So this is the second braking marker, the number 2 right here. And you can see that I am still on the throttle just a smidge, and I just start to come off and get on the throttle just after, probably a little bit after the 2, I would say, right about here. All right, so a little bit on the throttle. Now, when I'm doing this, I like to do this a little bit differently than I've seen most people do it. When I go into the first corner, I don't actually use my left foot to on the clutch. I like to stay left foot braking on the clutch, and then you'll see here, as we're coming into the corner, I'm in steady braking, and then I blip the throttle once and make the shift into third before we turn the car in. So we can go back just a little and watch that happen again. It happens very quickly. So we're on the brakes, just like this, and you can see the throttle blip happen right there, and that's when I'm shifting to third. And there's a lot going on in this corner, and I like the way I don't have to transition from right foot braking with heel toe clutch downshifting back to left foot braking. So this is the way I do it. I don't use the clutch in this one. I've seen guys run in the lower 58s faster than this who do use it. I've seen guys who use that technique and run, and they make 2 shifts in the corner. I just like this single shift from 5th to 3rd with no clutch. It seems to work really well on this. So as you're coming down into the first corner, you definitely want to be real close to the curb. I'd say I'm up on, it's a 2-angle curb. You can definitely be on the first one here. So I'm going in, and there's a concrete pad through here too. There seems to be a little more grip and some camber on it as well. So if you get to the outside out over here, you're going to be losing your camber, and there's also a lot of dust and marbles out here. If you're not an iRacing fan, this is very, very realistic, and this is what happens when a track gets used a lot. All that debris gets pushed to the side, and if you get out here, it will make you pretty loose, so you need to be careful of that. So definitely staying on the concrete through here is very important. And let's see, we're going through here like that, and here's we'll make a second. I like to sort of double apex this corner. It seems to work really well. You can brake a little bit later past the 2 mark and come out a little wider and still stay on the pad, right? But when you get to this, you need to think about this last section. It's a little bit different angle, so I like to dual apex it. And you can see there's a little bit of steering adjustment happening here, and that was all pretty good through there. When you get to this point, you can see that there's a tree on this side, this one out here. I like to start braking just as it disappears from view. That seems to work pretty well, and you can stay way far outside on this corner because what you want to do is end up way over here. This is a very late apex corner. It's a very short straightaway, so you don't need to get a ton of speed coming out of here, right? So you can stay wide and hit that late apex, and there's another concrete pad here. See how close I am to the grass right here at the end of this corner. So stay on the concrete pad and late apex as well. So I think I might have dipped the tire in just a smidgen over here. You can get away with that on the dirt if you're quick to fix it, but you need to be looking ahead to this one. This corner matters a lot because it's right before a long straightaway, and the corners before straightaways are the most important ones on the track because you can gain or lose a lot of time through there. And another concrete pad, you want to be watching for these. So this is an interesting corner because I love the Global MX5. It's very flickable, it's very balanced, so as you're going through here, you want to be careful. You can watch right here. Okay, here's one little tiny turn in, and then a correction, okay? Another correction. It didn't turn in far enough the first time, so another one, okay? And I'm unwinding the wheel a little bit. You can feel the neutral steer start to happening. The car is sliding as it goes through, okay? And you don't have to come all the way out to this curb on this side if you can manage to keep it in. I can tell you, if you don't rotate the car at the beginning, you just won't make it there, okay? So you want to try and stay close to this one too. Definitely want to sign. Where did I shift? I think I shifted. Let's see where I shifted in that one. Yeah, there's another good little tip for Lime Rock. If you're shifting before this second little curb right up here, you're definitely doing something right. That's a good marker. You can definitely shift probably 60 or 70 feet ahead of it, and you can see right here I'm waiting for that. Let's see if I got that. Yeah, waiting for the third light to show up, and I do right here. Yep, there it is. Good shift. No rev bouncing off the rev limiter. So tight to that one. I think I could have been a little closer. And I definitely want to line up to this outside one here. This is a really interesting corner because it does a lot of things. Of course, it changes direction, but it starts to go uphill as well. And if you can get through this first section without losing too much speed, you can really power through this next bit, because as the car is compressing, it's adding a lot of grip to the tires. So the trick is to get through this first section very, very quickly. And to do that, you have to rotate the car. And like I said, this is a very flickable car, so as you watch, you can see that the car is gonna I'm gonna one turn and then a little bit of counter steer, right? And as I'm counter steering, just even for a split second, the car's definitely gonna be going in a much better angle. So there's the turn in, the counter steer. You can see the car start to slide, and I'm fixing it, but I'm still on the apex. Okay, neutral steer's gone away, and this is a pretty good line through here. I've got pretty much full. Where did I start full throttle? I was pretty good on the throttle, and to help induce that rotation, you're gonna want to make that little turn in and lift off the throttle just a smidge, and you'll watch me do it here. Okay, just a little bit of braking actually, and as soon as I start to counter steer, the throttle comes back on, and we keep going through the corner. So what's happening is, when you lift off the throttle, in this case add a tiny bit of brake, you're shifting the car's weight forward, and that lightens the load on the rear of the car, which allows the rear end to slide out just a little bit, and that puts the car into a really great neutral slip angle for optimal grip around the corner. It's essentially a very, very tiny four-wheel drift, so that's really good. That was a really good part. So we're going up the hill, and this is a really, really interesting section too. If you go up here quick enough, your car will leave the surface or very close to it. So you can see what happened here. As we're going up through this, you can see that I'm actually anticipating. I'm steering to the left just a little, and as I start to crest, I actually lift the throttle off a bit. Some people don't do it. I like to. It's a little safer, because if you get the car off the ground, then it can definitely be bad, and you're going to want to have to counter steer in the air, and I don't like to do that. So I'm preemptively, and I'm about 4 or 5 feet far to the right. I could come more to the left next time on this for a little bit. I could swing that a little wider, but that's all in all, that's pretty good. And I will creep off to the left right there, and coming down into this one here. So there's another tree. There's another pretty good reference point on this one. This big tall tree in the middle, and I think I either like to slow down right around that tree, and to get around the next corner. And this next corner is really interesting because you can't be quite as aggressive as the last one, because there's not an elevation change here. But you are actually going fast enough so that you'll definitely upset the balance of the car. So right about that tree disappears right there, and there the throttle comes off, and just a smidge of braking, just like the last one, a little brake and a little turn, and now you can see the car is oversteering, and I'm fixing it, and it went away, and then I'm adding more steering input to get it to go in, and back on the throttle. Let's see where we got back on the throttle there. You can get back on the throttle about at the apex of this one, maybe a little sooner. Let's go back and make that happen a little slower. Right here. Okay, so a little bit of brake. There's the oversteer. We see that happening. And I'm back on the throttle already, which is a little risky here, especially if you're in an oversteer adding throttle. But as soon as you make another turn, and you can really go almost full throttle. I make a couple corrections. You're always feeling it out, but I'm pretty much full throttle from this point forward, I think. And I am. Yep. So and you can run out all the way to the left on this curb, no problem at all. You can get away with dipping your left wheels on here, But if you can avoid it, you probably should. It's a little risky, but you can do it. And lining up down the left side of this track, of course, you're looking ahead. That's the great thing about having these big monitors, is that you can definitely learn to look ahead, something you can't normally do in a racing game like this. But I know I make a mistake here. I remember it. Yeah, and I actually dipped the left tires into the grass here, which is a pretty big mistake going this fast. But I was able to get away with it just before a lot of turn-in happened. So we can see that I don't think I braked in this corner. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but I am going to let off the throttle right here and make my first turn-in, and that adds, just like the other corners, you have to manipulate the weight transfer of this MX5 Mazda Cup for it to go fast. Alright, so we're turning in and lifting off, and that's adding a little bit of rotation before the corner. And always looking ahead, so let's see how we do here. Now this you can be pretty close. There is a really steep angle. You don't want to be right up on it, but if you can get maybe a couple inches of it, and I think I just got the right spot here, and the car is going to bounce a little bit through this section, but you can, right from the turn-in point, a little bit before the apex, after you get your weight transfer right, you can really get back on the throttle right before the apex, and you have to ride it out. You can ride this corner a lot faster than you think you can. And right at the end there, you see a little bit of oversteer. I am pushing it. So we get the rotation at the beginning of the corner by letting off and turning in. And there's the apex right there. And full throttle. And it starts to oversteer just here. A little tick of correction. And you can run. I could have run this out a little bit wider. I wouldn't want to go too much wider, I would think. But you can dip into here a little bit too. But if you can avoid it, I definitely would. This is a really good indicator here of where you should be shifting. If you get up to this little, you're watching for this little green section where the grass and the dirt meet up. If you're shifting after that, you know there's a lot more speed to be gained, right? This is a pretty good indicator that you're going to have a good lead-in point for your next lap, a good starting point for your first lap. So I remember saying earlier on my lead-in lap to this fast lap, I shifted way down here. It was not a good lead-in, so there's definitely more time to be gained there. So, and you can see right here, we're watching the rev lights. There's the third one. It bounces 3 or 4 times and before I shift. So it did. The shift light did come on in a pretty good spot, but I wasn't very quick to catch it. So right here. And I dipped into the sand a little bit. You can get away with that too. So right there, that's a pretty good fast lap coming on. So, and then you're just going down here and riding it out. So there you have it. That is a 58.5. That's a pretty respectable time around Lime Rock Park. There you have it.